All right, hello, and welcome to Camel Finance. I'm your boy Camel, and today I just want to go over the charts, okay? I just want to run through, examine all the closes, and get ready for the week ahead of us. So, starting off here with the S&P 500, as you can see, we have held this position, we've continued to push this position, and it certainly now looks like we are attempting to make a new daily cycle, which would look something like this up into the next daily cycle low before we can continue. So far so good for the S&P 500. The NASDAQ continues to ruin all bears' dreams. I was cautioning against shorting this move once we saw this first couple of red candles here, and so far this is proving my point perfectly. As you can see, you don't want to jump in front of any trains. When the trend is as strong and as powerful as this, then you just have to step aside and let it do its thing. So we continue to push the longs. At some point, a pullback to this yellow or red support line is perfectly logical, but so long as we hold those, we can continue to push trades, right? The Dow Jones is apparently attempting to break out from, if I move this line across, you can see we've got this sort of situation going along. Now, that could have been a trade, that could have been a valid trade. I haven't taken it. And the reason is we have ultimately been sideways for a very, very long time now, as you can see. So unless we can get straight through here, right, which you can see we're right into at the moment, unless we can get straight through here, and personally, even if we did, I don't like the overhead resistance that we've got in this blue zone here. I don't like that. So any breakout here is likely to run into some walls at this resistance block I've got here. But if we can get through that, if we can indeed break through here, then we can look to entertain longs whilst the Dow follows the likes of the NASDAQ and the S&P 500. Something I've been talking about for a long time on this channel is getting the VIX down to the low teens. And we are finally breaking down. As you can see, we have lost this level of support now, clearly on its way to the low teens, which should of course be conducive to seeing this melt-up chart of mine come to fruition. It seems to be that we are indeed undergoing the final portion of this rally. Big red flags will be if they cut rates. They're currently talking about a pause, but it's a skip. It's not a real pause. They're just going to skip one and then maybe look to continue hiking. I mean, the market clearly doesn't care. The market is clearly in blow off top mode at this moment in time. Now, things can change and they can change quickly. And of course, if they do, we'll have to deal with that as it shows up. But as it stands, this continues to look more and more feasible by the day. We are continuing to push our Apple long, as you can see, and I've been saying the same thing over and over again. All the while we're above these upward sloping support lines, then there's no reason to exit the trade. Some level of resistance or some level of consolidation at the all-time high is perfectly reasonable. But if we get above this all-time high, then we can enter price discovery and things can get very, very high very, very quickly. We've just seen this on Nvidia. So that's what I'm hoping for. Of course, if we lose these upward sloping support lines, then I will be exiting the trade and going back to a more neutral position, ready to attack again if the market sets up. The dollar currently working on breakout, retest, possible resumption from here, or also a possible rollover. That's to be determined. My bias is that we will get the dollar to roll over, but that of course is to be determined. Bitcoin still trading sideways. We do still have a valid daily cycle low. I would say that if we don't break out of this week, if we don't break out of this downward sloping blue resistance line this week, then we are going to have to entertain a more sideways consolidation into that next 60-day cycle low, which is due around the beginning of July. So in an ideal world, we'd like to see this breakout. We'd like to see it break out soon. Ethereum is hinting that Bitcoin is indeed going to do Bitcoin things. As you can see, breakout, retest, looking for that resumption. Confirmation of completed resumption would come from a break above this local high back here. So that's what I'll be looking for Ethereum to do this week. And I'll, of course, if Ethereum can do that, I'll be looking for Bitcoin to follow suit. Here's XRP. So I was talking a lot about holding this green box here. All the while we're above that, there's no reason to exit the trade. So we continue to push this long on XRP. And it's a similar recurring theme when we get to the crypto related equities. I've been talking for weeks now, I think, about relative strength showing up in the crypto related equities. Whilst Bitcoin was making lower lows and double bottoms, the crypto related equities were not. They were diverging. And I was talking about how we can see this across the board with MicroStrategy as well. We've got relative strength here, which, as I've been saying, is indicative that these crypto-related equities know something. They know something about the direction of Bitcoin. And therefore, we've got some subtle hints from the market that Bitcoin is about to do Bitcoin things. Here's Marathon. Marathon, again, continues to look good. And lastly, gold. I haven't touched on the precious metals in a while. We are currently holding this uptrend, but I have been talking on and off about likely seeing some sort of breakdown and then drawing the trend line and having one last go at this. Now, I think it could really go either way at the moment. We could certainly see a breakdown and a big crash, in which case that is my favorite. That's what I'm hoping for, because if we can get this, then the breakout from down here should set up the blast off and the run that will crack through all-time highs and target 3K before it first has a significant pullback. So that's what I would like to see. But will it show up? Nobody knows. We just have to take it one day at a time. If we can continue to hold this and continue to do something like this, then we will go back to buying the all-time high break for gold. And again, we'll be targeting around 3K for the first leg up. If indeed the stocks are going to melt up, gold will lose its shine in the short term. People won't feel the need to buy an asset that historically trades counter to the equities. When risk is on, gold typically doesn't do very well. And then when we get risk off in the markets, people tend to buy gold as a safe haven asset. So if indeed these markets are going to melt up, if we're going to see the stock markets put in a blow off top, then I would think we could probably see gold make one final flush down before it's time to then exit the stocks and really start to load up on gold. So silver, if gold is going to dive, then expect silver to as well, right? But again, I think this speaks more to a big opportunity coming from this breakout wherever it occurs than anything else. Again, if gold is going to dive down, so are the miners, and I think that's where we can go to getting full exposure, even overweight exposure to the precious metal sector. So very big opportunities coming, I think. We can continue to push trades. We can continue to look for this blow off top until the market tells us something different. Bitcoin has been lagging behind risk, which is kind of weird, but I'm sure it will get going in the near future. However, like I said earlier, if we don't get going soon for Bitcoin, then we are going to have to entertain a sideways consolidation cycle into that next 60-day cycle low before we can really get going again. But as ever, we'll head into this week with a flexible, unbiased, and unemotional posture, ready to trade one day at a time. I'm your boy Camel. I hope you had a great weekend. Take care from me. All the best. Cheers. Bye.